Guys, I'm going to introduce a new house to you today on the channel. I've spoken about them before here and there, but really great collection of 4 fragrances from a house called Maison du Roc. They're also part of that sale that's happening over at So Avant-Garde, 30% off sale. You can take 30% off of all 4 of these fragrances until Monday night. So it's a great luxury niche house, extrait de parfum fragrances, very long lasting, really quality offerings. You're going to find out all about them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're speaking about a fragrance house called Maison du Roc. We've got 4 fragrances. First of which is BOIS SACRE, this one right here. Sorry, these are reflective bottles, so I'm going to try and not make them reflective to you. CREPESCULE, Mousse de CUIR, CUIR, I think that's how you say it, and then YLANG d'Or. 4 really great fragrances. I enjoy all of them, but I enjoy one a lot. One of them is just super amazing, and I've already featured it in a few videos here and there. Are you familiar with this house? Let me know. Put a comment down below. Is this the first time you're hearing about them? Again, as I said, I've spoken about a few of the fragrances here and there, but I want you to find out about it and also take advantage of that discount that's happening currently. 30% off until Monday over at So Avant-Garde. I have a link in the info box. It's Sebastian 30. Normally it's Sebastian 10 any other time of the year. So we're going to start off with the first fragrance. It's called BOIS SACRE, this one right here. So sacred wood, I believe that's what it translates to. This is I'm going to tell you the ranking afterwards. I don't want to say what number this is. This features notes of orris root, leather, Bran absolute, hazelnuts, cardamom, Australian sandalwood, Tonka bean absolute, oud and patchouli. So the idea of orris root and leather kind of giving me the whole Dior Homme, intense Dior Homme parfum vibe. Not identical, but it has that reminder in it. Also, I feel like the iris orris root in here is not quite similar to the other. It does have a bit more of a niche quality to it rather than the whole smooth designer quality that the Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum have. I really love that fragrance. And this happens to be one of my favorites from this house. For sure, it's quite powdery from the orris and a bit vegetal as well. Very rooty. You can feel it, experience it, and also experience all of its powdery glory. So they have Bran Absolute listed as a note. You can actually experience it. It's a bit not necessarily doughy but bready, but also granular a bit. In addition to that, they have hazelnuts, so there's some light nuttiness that comes in as well. Eventually, the fragrance is quite woody, powdery, and leathery. And I feel like we get a little bit of amber in this as well, but a really fantastic, super sexy fragrance, sacred wood. Although I feel like we're paying tribute to the orris fruit a bit more than woods, but it is quite woody for sure, especially for the fact that they have oud in here, and also the patchouli, and then the Australian sandalwood to give you a very woody consistency. But overall, it's quite powdery and leathery, and it does hint a little bit at Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum. Smelling different because, as I said, the orris root in here is a bit different than the orris that they're using in Dior Homme Parfum and Intense. But there's that kind of styling that you might be familiar with if you're using the other 2 fragrances. But then again, you're experiencing it here more niche style rather than designer. I mean, there's a way you can tell the creations apart. And this one's definitely a lot more luxurious and a little bit more edgy than the Dior Homme Parfum or Dior Homme Intense. Let's quickly smell BOIS SACRE because, again, it's definitely a great fragrance. And I do have to say the bottles of these fragrances are really great. The sprayers are also really great. You've got the name right on top there. Really classy bottles. The only thing I don't like is the reflection here because you'll be seeing all my bottles. But let's go ahead and smell. For sure it's powdery. You recognize the iris orris root in here. And again, it has those vegetal touches, which I'm really enjoying. Iris was not a favorite note of mine. And thanks to Dior Homme Intense, which is the first Dior Homme fragrance I got, now it's become a favorite note, one of my favorite notes. I really enjoy it. And there's something really cool about iris. It has those vegetal qualities, but if you sweeten it up, it almost acts a bit gourmand to me. And here you have that a little bit. But this is a bit more rougher. The leather is quite prominent. It's also a slight bit animalic as well. But gorgeous. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. It does have spices that come through. Again, those bready kind of nutty qualities are in here. And they actually really complement the iris. Because you kind of sort of get those kind of qualities anyway from the iris or orris note. It's a nice complement to it to kind of make it a bit more of a mixture of the iris, Orris, the Bran and Hazelnuts nuttiness together, almost going into a gourmand direction, but quite not. But again, the leather in here is what's really making this fragrance stand out to be a bit more of a niche offering compared to, let's say, Dior Homme Parfum, which has the leather. I don't know, I keep referring to that fragrance. I feel like the style is similar, but as smells go, they're different. But this is fantastic. A leathery take on iris. It's woody, leathery, and ambery. It's Bois Sacre. Are you familiar with this one? Let me know. We're moving on to the next fragrance. It's called Crepescule. This is it right here. This is a fragrance that's in the style of a rose oud combo. I'm familiar with it and I'm a bit bored of them. I've mentioned here and there in videos. I feel like they've done a great job in this one. And the reason I like this one more than some others, because it's got a pretty prominent patchouli note in addition to the rose and also the oud that's in here. But in the end, it's rose, dark woods, oud, raspberry jam, lychee, pink pepper, musk, patchouli, vetiver, frankincense, and jasmine. I like the addition of the fruits in here as well, because not necessarily giving me a portrait of a lady vibe, but then it's a lot of rose and there's also patchouli in here, so somewhat kind of giving me that kind of a characteristic. But then again, it's a rose oud combo fragrance, if that makes sense. Really nicely done as well, but I'll tell you where this lands when I'm ranking the list. All four of the fragrances, really long-lasting Extrait de Parfum fragrances, really quality productions. And if you're into the idea of rose and oud together with some fruits and things like that, and of course that patchouli, which I really love, one of my favorite notes of all time, I think this will satisfy. Let's quickly smell. Again, the sprayers are really great, really wonderful bottles. I can already smell this. That's how strong these fragrances are. Extrait de Parfum fragrances, really, really long lasting, as I said. Now this one, it's quite rosy and also jammy. The jamminess is what I like in here. I like dry rose, but I like that whole jammy effect in roses. And I feel like the raspberry jam and also the lychee fruit adds a fruit jam effect with the rose, and you know, with rose you get some fruitiness anyway, but it extends the fruitiness here with it, and a lot of patchouli and a lot of oud and additional woods. But along the way there's spices, there's for sure spices, peppery spices come in, and a lot of woods in the dry down as well. And the addition of the frankincense in here and also the peppery spices, also another reason why I think sort of similarly reminds me a little bit of something like Portrait of a Lady. I don't think this smells a lot like Portrait of a Lady, just the reminder once again, whereas the first fragrance, Bois Sacre, reminded me of the idea of Dior Homme Intense and Parfum. Here, I get that kind of a Portrait of a Lady vibe, but with a more oudy direction, just because it has the patchouli, bit of the spices and the peppery, incensey touches, and of course the fruits. It's a wonderful offering. Crepescule, that's the second fragrance I'm talking about here from Maison du Roc. Are you familiar with this house? Let me know. Put a comment down below. All right, the third fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today in alphabetical order, it's Mousse de CUIR, this one right here. CUIR? I know I have a challenging time pronouncing this word, actually. It's a CUIR, right? CUIR? Do correct me. I know I'm having a challenging time, as I said. But this is a leathery or mossy leather fragrance. This is the most masculine in the collection. I feel like I enjoy wearing this one quite a bit, but it's definitely very butch and also very smoky, very, very leathery. Just kind of very leaning masculine for sure. But it's got notes of ambrette, cocoa, coffee, warm leather, moss, vetiver bourbon, macchiato accord, musks, sandalwood, hazelnuts, and bergamot. So the fragrance, when I'm wearing it, does have a smoky effect, but also whatever notes they have in here gives me a creamy, milky, lactonic vibe as well. But the leather seems to be green, and most likely the greenness I'm getting from moss or the vetiver that's in here. So you've got this nice, smooth, creamy, almost gourmand side of the fragrance that's trying to balance out all the butch, masculine, leathery, dark, smoky parts. In the end, the leather wins out, the dark wins out, the muskiness, but you know, it's a nice balance, I think. Again, when I'm wearing it, it goes very smoky, very animalic, and also a bit green, but a really enjoyable leather fragrance that I enjoy talking about here for you guys, because a lot of leather fragrances tend to smell very similar. Just think of ombre leather or Tuscan leather, and every other leather fragrance from brands do end up smelling very similar. This does seem to be a very original take on a leather and a very enjoyable wear. Now, if you're not into animalic notes, this might be a bit overwhelming for you, because you get the muskiness and also animalic smoky touches from the leather as well. In the end, leather is burned, so I feel like that's how it becomes. It's a smoky note. It has a lot of smoky characteristic to it, and you do experience it here, especially when I was wearing it. That's what I got. So I got that greenness, I got a bit of a milky lactonic creaminess, and an animalic musky leather with smoke thrown in. Let's go ahead and quickly smell Mousse de CUIR, and I'll let you know a little bit more about it. I know I'm having a challenging time with that word. I don't want to say it wrong, but I don't have the French talking. So coffee is prominent, but that goes away quite fast. And this is the gourmand parts I was saying. There's these nice, soft, creamy, almost gourmand parts of the fragrance that's trying to balance out the dark, smoky, leathery parts, green parts of the fragrance. In the end, it becomes very smoky and leathery, and also woody, because there's quite a bit of woods in here. But when you're first wearing the fragrance on, it does have that creamy gourmand effect that's there. Really a great leather fragrance. I enjoy it. Again, it's not a fragrance I would crave to wear every day, because it's a bit challenging. It is animalic after all. But if you want something unique and original, definitely try this fragrance. Definitely a wonderful offering from this house. Now again, as I said, that's the most masculine in the collection. And then we've got the most feminine in the collection. It's YLANG d'Or. I think it's because I associate flowers with more of a feminine characteristic. But in the end, you judge and say what you want. But for me, I'm going to tell you my ranking right now. And since this is the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, YLANG d'Or is my favorite fragrance in the collection. It was an instant love, and I feel like it's a tropical floral fragrance highlighting and paying tribute to the ylang ylang. You totally smell it. It's there, center stage. It's the star. You gotta love ylang ylang to enjoy this fragrance, and it's just fantastic the way it's done. Now, not only does it have ylang ylang, a yellow tropical floral note, but it has jasmine sambac, tuberose, Timur, Sichuan, pink pepper, warm woods, and sensual musk. On me, this thing projects like crazy. Absolutely love it. When I'm wearing it, I get a bit of a beachy vibe as well, because, you know, in the end, it's a tropical floral note, and I feel like this note, ylang ylang, is used in fragrances to give you that effect, the beachy vibe. You do get that here. It also has a humid effect, I think just because of the ylang ylang note, because in the tropical regions where this note comes from, it does get humid, and it's in the DNA of the flower, and that's how you experience it. But man, the projection of this is amazing. On me, it smells fantastic. I absolutely love it. It smells super amazing. I hope you guys get to try this one, because I love it. Love it. I love Ylang 49 as a great classic Chypre style ylang ylang. This is also a favorite ylang fragrance of mine now. They're so different. With this one also, you do get the banana effect. Ylang ylang sometimes reminds me of a bit of a unripened banana, which is kind of here. Oh man, though, it's so wonderful. Really amazing. Jasmine, tuberose, and ylang ylang together. So you've got this big, beautiful bouquet of flowers and spices and woods. Really amazing fragrance. I think this is #1 favorite of this house, Maison du Roc. If you haven't tried YLANG d'Or, please do, especially if you like tropical floral fragrances. I would have to say Mousse de CUIR and BOIS SACRE are my second favorite. They're tied. I can't decide which one between the two. Mousse de CUIR is the more potent one, and of course, as I said, it's more masculine. And then finally, Crepescule is my last favorite. But as I was saying earlier, this whole collection is really, really amazing. So I'm just hoping you guys get to sample them somehow and try them and get your nose on them. The way they're created, they're beefy, they're robust fragrances, and very, very long lasting. And again, as I said, they're extrait de parfum. That's the reason. But also, the sprayers on these fragrances are amazing. It wears wonderfully. And just wanted to highlight the brand and let you guys know about them. But if you do know about this brand, let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out and see what you guys think. And again, that sale or promotion is happening until tomorrow, Monday night. It is 30% off of, not all, the majority of the fragrances at So Avant-Garde, but definitely these are in the promotion. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Maison du Roc fragrances. Are you familiar with this house? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. Other than that, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.